We're in the early 2010s. Vietnam is booming, the economy is growing 6% a year, factories run at full speed, foreign money flows in, a new Asian tiger is rising in Southeast Asia. Behind the bright numbers, though, something doesn't add up. Someone is getting much richer, much faster than everyone else. It's obvious, too obvious. Everyone can see it, the people can see it, and the Communist Party decides to act now to not lose face with its people. General Secretary
Nguyễn Phú Trọng
launches a campaign, one that starts checking the sources of the incomes of the richest families in the country.
Chiến dịch lo lừa.
Operation Blazing Furnace. Its goal, burn corruption from root to branch. Its method, arrests, asset seizures, and confessions on national TV, ending in long prison sentences. Immediately, powerful names begin to fall.
Trịnh Văn Quyết,
Head of FLC Group and Bamboo Airways, is jailed for siphoning millions from investors.
Đỗ Anh Dũng,
CEO of
Tân Hoàng Minh,
is arrested for selling fake bonds worth trillions of dong.
Trịnh Xuân Thanh,
A former oil executive is kidnapped off the streets of Berlin in a covert operation, stuffed into a van, flown back to Vietnam, and sentenced for losing $150 million.
Nguyễn Thành Long,
Minister of Health is caught profiting from inflated COVID test kit contracts. Even
Trần Quý Thanh,
founder of beverage giant
Tân Hiệp Phật,
is jailed for orchestrating fake loans exceeding 1 trillion dong. Each case reveals how deeply corruption runs in Vietnam's economy. Each one sends shockwaves through the nation and damages its image on the world stage. But none of them, not a single one, comes close to what happened next.
Vạn Thinh Phat,
A company almost no one had heard of. A woman
Truong My Lan,
so powerful, so hidden, no one ever expected to see her face. A fraud so vast it was draining nearly 10% of Vietnam's entire economy. In the heart of Ho Chi Minh City, under the tin roof of Ben Thanh Market, a young woman sells hair accessories, plastic clips, combs, ribbons. Her name is
Truong My Lan.
She belongs to the Hoa minority, ethnic Chinese, long known for controlling trade in southern Vietnam. At a time when most people are working on collective farms or in state-run factories, the Hoa community runs black markets and makes a fortune. In the 1980s, Vietnam is barely standing. The war is over, but the economy is frozen. Private business is banned. Trade is technically illegal, but Ben Thanh is thriving.
Truong My Lan
Is at the center of it. Day after day, she works with her mother, selling small goods, stacking cash. Sale by sale, she builds connections with vendors, suppliers, and sometimes party officials. Then in 1986, everything changes. The government launches
đổi mới,
critical economic reforms. For the first time in decades, people can open businesses. Trade is legalized, money flows, and land begins to change hands. Land especially is dirt cheap. By the early 1990s, property in central Ho Chi Minh City could sell for less than $100 per square meter, even near Ben Thanh. On the outskirts, it was under $20. In Tokyo, the same amount of land could cost $30,000 per square meter. The gap is staggering. What exactly
Truong My Lan
did during this time isn't fully documented, but it's clear something big began. Most likely, she pooled money from her family or through hui, traditional Chinese credit circles, and started buying land fast. She focused on districts 1, 3, and 5, the city's commercial core, small shop fronts, corner lots, crumbling buildings, not glamorous but central, and she knew the city would grow around them. She didn't build, she just bought and held the land. Once she had it, she leased the properties to small banks, private firms, and foreign offices. The strategy was simple: buy early, collect rent, and wait for prices to rise. With the cash flow, she started acquiring colonial-era hotels, abandoned or ignored by the state. She renovated them modestly, turning them into mid-range hotels and steady income sources. Around this time, she marries Eric Chu Nap Ki, a businessman from Hong Kong. The timeline isn't exact, but the marriage is strategic. In the 1990s, Hong Kong is a global financial hub, offshore banks, shell companies, fast-moving capital. Eric has access to all of it. Together, they build a financial pipeline. Money flows in from Hong Kong, from the Chinese diaspora, and into Ho Chi Minh's real estate market. Out of this, her company is born.
Vạn Thinh Phat.
On paper,
Vạn Thinh Phat
It's a real estate firm. In practice, it's a land bank, a machine built to collect property. At first, it works quietly. No press releases, no skyscrapers, just land acquisition, office leases, and modest hotel makeovers. She starts with the Windsor Plaza Hotel in District 5, renovated from a crumbling building into a mid-range hotel. Then comes Sherwood Residence, Capitol Place, and eventually Times Square, Saigon, a glass tower in District 1, complete with luxury condos, offices, and the Reverie Saigon, one of the city's most expensive hotels. By the 2010s,
Truong My Lan
owns some of the most valuable real estate in Vietnam. But she wants more than assets. She also wants cash. So she finds what she wants in a group of crumbling banks. In 2011, 3 struggling Vietnamese banks, Tin Ninh Bank, Phicom Bank, and SCB, are merged into one. The new bank keeps the name Saigon Commercial Bank, or SCB. For
Truong My Lan.
this is an opportunity. Vietnamese law says no one can own more than 5% of a commercial bank. So she finds a way around it. She uses the identities of family members, employees, even drivers and maids, people she trusts, to buy shares in their name using her own money. On paper, they look like random investors. In reality, they're her pawns. They do what she tells them to do. Without ever putting her name on paper, through these proxies, she gains control of 93% of SCB. What does that mean? It means she effectively runs the bank. She decides where the bank's money goes. Then she builds a network of 1,000 fake companies inside and outside Vietnam. On paper, they look like separate businesses, but behind the scenes, they're all hers. Each company applies for loans from SCB, and since she controls the bank, every loan gets approved. From 2012 to 2022, Lan hijacks the SCB bank to approve over 2,500 fake loans, worth nearly $44 billion. The real borrowers, still her. The money always ends up back in her hands. And here's how she gets away with it. Every loan needs collateral, something of value like a building or a piece of land, to guarantee repayment. So she keeps using the same properties over and over again. She pledges the same real estate for multiple loans. Some of the properties aren't even worth that much, so she bribes appraisers to lie. A building worth $10 million is magically declared to be worth $100 million. That inflated value makes it look like she deserves a much bigger loan than she really does. When SCB finally starts to run out of money, the State Bank of Vietnam steps in. Thinking it's helping a legitimate bank survive a crisis, it injects trillions of dong as emergency funds. But that money doesn't rescue anything. Lan sends her employees to physically withdraw the cash injected by the government through ATMs and bank counters. They stack the money in boxes filled with 500,000 dong banknotes, the highest denomination in Vietnam, worth about $20 each. Box by box, the cash is carried to her mansion. Room by room, floor by floor, her house becomes a vault, packed wall to wall with cash. And when regulators start asking questions about where SCB money is going, she buys silence. She gives the equivalent of $5 million in cash to a senior official at the State Bank of Vietnam. The money is delivered in cardboard boxes. The message is clear: don't look, don't ask, don't stop this. So the fraud continues, and the hole gets bigger. She then sells real estate bonds to investors based on fake land values in projects that don't exist. Thousands of ordinary people buy in, trusting the brand. But the money again disappears into the same black hole. By late 2022, the bank is nearly out of cash. SCB clients grow nervous. Some try to withdraw their savings, but the money isn't there. A bank run begins. People line up at ATMs. Panic spreads. And then it makes history. In October 2022, the government launches an investigation after unusual transactions and liquidity issues at SCB trigger alarms at the central bank. They uncover thousands of fake loans, rigged appraisals, and missing funds.
Truong My Lan
Is arrested. She is charged with embezzlement, bribery, and violations of banking laws. Over 80 others are arrested: SCB executives, auditors, even central bank officials. Investigators say more than 40,000 people lost their savings completely. Millions more were affected, most of them ordinary Vietnamese savers. In April 2024, after a high-profile trial with 200 lawyers, 2,500 victims and 86 defendants, she is found guilty of causing $27 billion in damages to Vietnam's economy, with $12.5 billion completely unrecoverable. She is sentenced to death. The government's message is political. No one is untouchable. In October 2024, she is convicted again, this time for money laundering and bond fraud. She receives an additional life sentence on top of the death penalty. But then, the law changes. In June 2025, Vietnam abolishes the death penalty for economic crimes. Her sentence is automatically reduced to life in prison. Her company is frozen. SCB is under state control. The money? $12.5 billion still missing. And across Vietnam, dozens of her projects remain unfinished. Abandoned concrete shells on empty land. To cover the damage, the Vietnamese government injects nearly $24 billion in SCB, public money printed by the central bank. It keeps the bank alive. Savers get their money back, but at a cost. With a sudden 15% increase in the money supply, inflation spikes. The dong weakens on global markets, and the burden shifts to the entire economy with a sharp rise in prices. What started under a tin roof at Ben Thanh Market, selling plastic clips and ribbons, ends with unfinished megaprojects, a drained bank, a government scrambling, and a country of 100 million people forced to pay the price.